Back again with another 3DS now, are we? Well, seems like it. It's this time the Pokeball Edition new 2DS XL. Oh boy, isn't this like the 6th 3DS that's been released? Yeah, I think it has been 6. And the 3rd new 3DS to be made. And this is supposed to be the cheaper variant to the newest 3DS XL, while still obviously being the successor to the original 2DS. So in this video, we're going to be comparing to lots of different units, as we're not going to be comparing this to the newest 3DS XL, but of course the original 2DS. And since this is the 4th XL to be made, I thought it'd be a little fun to take a look back at the previous XLs. So, let's go ahead and get into this box. Well, might as well take a look around first. Was there anything is the claim of the screen increase? 82% larger. Well, actually the original 2DS and the original 3DS shared the same screen sizes. But my theory is, since the 2DS used a single display to simulate the two screens, that's probably where they're getting that claim from. As this 3DS XL is has the same screen sizes as its more expensive counterparts. And this also costs a bit more, about $160 compared to $150 for the standard edition. And my theory is the Pokeball button. I'm thinking it might protrude because the artwork shows a little shadow of it. Oh well, let's take a look at it. And I can just mention that the red and black finish looks really nice. Okay. Aww. Alright, there's the charger. So let's go ahead and I'm just gonna slide everything out of here. There we go. Alright, so we got our AC adapter, which is a nice inclusion to have, because considering that the newest 3DS and the XL do not come with an AC adapter, that's nice. Although I got plenty of these. We get our paperwork with the standard AR cards and a brief instruction manual, and finally the console itself, which is face down, actually. Alright, let's go ahead and get all that out of the way. Ooh. Wow, that looks really, really nice. And yeah, I can confirm the Pokeball button does protrude. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started from out of the way. And take a look at the hardware itself, which looks really nice. And it feels very lightweight. That's quite surprising. And it feels really solid. Wow. And just from initial, that feels really nice. Wow. And oh my god, the red finish, it's like a blood red. It's not, and even though it's a matte finish, it still gets plenty of fingerprints. I mean, it's a bit more, it's a bit, like the new 3DS XL is definitely a darker red. It's more of a blood red. But this is a very vibrant color. Holy moly. And we have contrasting parts of it. So the power button is black. Same goes with the headphone jack. Volume slider as well. The shoulder buttons up top. Even the IR blaster, which is already black. Still contrasts nicely with the red color. We got our AC adapter right there. And let's take a look at the stylus here. Oh my god, that is very, very small. Okay, rant time. So going side by side, on the left we got newest 3DS, newest 3DS XL, and new 2DS XL. The stylus is smaller than even the newest 3DS, which I thought was already kind of small. But it is thin. This one is thinner than these two. These two feel about the same thickness, but I was already kind of disappointed with both of these styluses but I think this is the worst of the worst. But I mean, it doesn't feel awful. That's the thing. It doesn't feel awful. It's not the worst thing I felt, unlike this piece of crap. But that is kind of disappointing. And something else to note: the edges here are glossy, and the center lines are also glossy, but the button itself. Oh my God! It pressed. I was not expecting that. Well, bonus points for that. Okay, let's go ahead and open this thing up. Then I might have to reposition my camera here. Alright, let's open it up. Woo-hoo! That looks sharp. That looks nice. And, oh my God, that top part really does look like an iPhone. That's kind of funny. And, wow, it feels nice. This is a nice improvement over the original 2DS. And I'm for surely saying the buttons feel, oh my God, they feel so much better than the original 2DS. The original 2DS I really didn't like. The face buttons I didn't mind. The D-pad I had a bigger problem with. I really didn't like this D-pad. It doesn't feel tactile at all. This feels, oh my God. Yes, it's a little clickier than I like, but it's solid. Same goes with the home button. The home button is a much better button and a much easier reach than this piece of crap. And I just, the amount of bezel that was cut to make this thing even smaller is just amazing. Yes, it's still an XL, but it's a bit smaller than the... I still can't believe how sleek this looks. Oh, okay, so there we have our cover for the game card. And oh, that's kind of difficult to open. The game card slot and micro SD card slot, and of course, typical Nintendo, a micro SD card is included, which is going to be 4 gigs. That's fine for saving stuff, but downloading stuff, it could be better. Like the original 2DS also came with a 4 gig card, but typical me, I upgrade mine to at least 16 gigs or more. And I kind of wish that the 3DS supported 128 gig SD cards. The maximum it can go up to is 64 gigs actually. But one thing that I really do nice, but one thing I really do like is that because the slot is covered, you don't have to worry about, if you're holding it a certain way, you don't have to worry about it, worry about one of your fingers resting over the slot, as it is here. Or sometimes if you really put enough pressure, you can eject the game card. And it's pretty much a bigger problem on the new 3DS than on the new 3DS XL. I mean, it's a bit more recessed on the new 3DS XL than the new 3DS, but it's still enough to be worried. And the original 2DS was also recessed, but not to this extent. So it's nice to see that it's covered, and plus it makes the design look a lot more seamless. So you don't have like a white. I mean, it's not as bad as on the white new 3DS, but on the new 3DS XL, yeah, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But that's just personal preference. Your mileage may vary. Some of you may prefer the exposed slot, and I get that. But having that extra layer of protection, I just rather have it just in case. And the hinge feels very solid. It's definitely audible, but not as bad as my new 3DS XL. And I kind of raved about the new 3DS when I first unboxed it like a year and a half ago, and it has gotten a bit more audible. In fact, they feel about the same. Maybe this one's a bit softer than the new 3DS. I don't know. It's a minor detail, and you might not even care. And the camera is really making it look more like an orange color. I'm noticing. Let's see if I can get the light to fix that. Probably not. Yeah, it doesn't look this orange in person. Like I said, it's more like a blood red color. But regardless, it's a very vibrant color. Much more vibrant than the newest 3DS XL in red. And I kind of like having that red edge around the black bezel. Sure, it doesn't look as sleek as the black and turquoise color, but I like this design a lot better. And having that black bezel does let the screen blend in better than it did on previous 3DS models. And call me crazy, but this is actually giving me throwbacks of the original 3DS, but the red and black of the flame red color, and I really like that. And it's still true here, and I really like how the buttons contrast. These black buttons contrast with the red body. I think that looks pretty cool. And because of how much bezel was cut, they did have to move a couple things. First of all, the front-facing camera had to be moved from the top to the hinge. Same goes for the notification light. The hinge design is completely different on here. On the edges here is where the hinge is, the actual hinge mechanism, whereas having most of the width here. And the notification light was there, and now it's right there. It's a bit smaller, but when it's closed, it's still visible even, but it might be a bit more difficult to see. And the microphone was moved from beneath the touchscreen to also in the hinge. And this is giving me DSi vibes, because the camera and the microphone were also on the hinge. That was a cool little detail. Okay, so we might as well take a look back at the previous XLs. Here we can see all four together, from oldest to newest, DSi XL, original 3DS XL, newest 3DS XL, and of course the new 2DS XL. I'm gonna get so fidgety with that, I swear. And comparing this to all the others, this is definitely the smallest, lightest, but even though it's also the cheapest, it feels just as sturdy as the others. Well, this one, the DSi XL, feels absolutely heavy. It doesn't feel heavy, like, yeah, this feels a little hefty. Same goes for this. It feels a little heavier now that I'm used to holding this thing. It feels very freaking light. Almost as light as the newest 3DS. And comparing the original 2DS to the new 2DS XL, there's a pretty big difference in terms of their design. The original 2DS had more of like a slate design that didn't have a clamshell design. Call me crazy, but I didn't mind this design at all. It kind of gave me some Game Boy vibes. And I kind of like the unique shape of it. Yes, it's not very portable. I'll give it that. And the plastic, the cheap feeling plastic, well, it's cheap. There's no getting around it. There's no getting around it. And I still remember when this thing used to cost $130. Nowadays, it costs $80, and that's definitely a good bargain. But that has outdated specs compared to this. This runs pretty much all the same specs as its more expensive counterparts. So, for most people, this is probably a better buy, because none of these have the better internals, so it's going to last longer when it comes to some of the upcoming games. Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, prime example. For example, the original Sun and Moon runs horribly on the original 3DS hardware. And I pretty much forced myself to play with the original 2DS a bit more than I used to, just to prepare myself for this video to see how it compares to the new 2DS XL, and I can say it's a nice improvement. The plastic construction, yes, it's still plastic, but it feels a lot sturdier. It feels a lot more solid than the original 2DS, and I think the design overall it's a nice improvement. I know we didn't get the clamshell design back, but it just looks a lot sleeker than even the new 3DS XL. And I keep mentioning that because they're mainly comparing this to the new 3DS XL, which is kind of interesting. Even though the new 2DS XL is the successor to the original 2DS, and I'm still kind of surprised. I was still surprised when that the 2DS was actually going to be getting an upgrade, just like the 3DS. Considering that it got the new 3DS added the C stick and the 2 extra shoulder buttons up top. I was curious on how Nintendo was gonna pursue that with the 2DS, let alone make an XL variant. But I guess doing the clamshell was the ultimate thing to do. And plus, this just is a lot more portable. I said that already. I keep going in circles, but it's just, oh, so good. And I gotta say, the ergonomics really do feel nice from just my initial impressions. And that's definitely a nice thing. Okay, so I think the next step is the initial boot. Let's go ahead and do it. There we go, new Nintendo 2DS. About 24 hours later, and I think I finally decided to actually give some more first impressions about it. It's definitely a nice redesign over the original 2DS, and just playing through it, and I'm liking this a lot more than I was expecting. Like I'm starting to like this more than my new 3DS XL, and I've played the crap out of this thing. But there are some things to note if you're gonna be picking this up. First of all, the edges are a bit sharper than the new 3DS XL. It doesn't feel as you can see there's more of a curve there than right here. It's not uncomfortable, and if you didn't like the original 2DS, then you might actually like this. It's definitely the ergonomics are definitely nice, but I've already complained about the stylus. You know, that's, take what you will. Like I would prefer this stylus over what comes with the new 2DS XL. The game card and micro SD card slot cover really isn't the easiest to open, but that's something that I got to get used to. Of course, the cameras are still crap. And speaker quality is probably my biggest problem with this, actually. So let's go ahead and grab a sample of the speaker quality of this and compare it to the new 3DS XL. Now, to my ears, the new 3DS XL definitely has the best sounding speakers. Even the new 3DS has better speakers than the new 2DS XL. Which is kind of disappointing. They're downward facing, which means they're prone to positional distortion. And they're kind of tinny, and as clear as these two. It does get loud, and the chassis does vibrate when the speakers are at max volume, but you're probably just going to want a pair of headphones if you're going to be playing this thing anywhere. Now let's go ahead and try a simultaneous boot. Of course, this your mileage may vary with this, and see if I can get them over at the same time. I can. This is definitely louder when opening it up. So let's go to stack. This is the best method for me Let's go ahead and 3, 2, 1, go. Turn the volume off. We can do 3ds XL. I'll boot it up first, but I don't think that's really gonna matter. I mean, they have the same internal, so it doesn't really matter that much. And even though new 2ds XL has a bigger chassis, which gives room for a bigger battery, I've heard that the battery life is unfortunately the same as the original 2DS, and there goes the notification light, which is not very bright, and it is a little, and it's not as noticeable as it did here. You may vary on that. So let's go ahead and turn these off, because software experience for the most part is the same. And there are some other differences between the new 2DS XL and the new 3DS XL, besides the design. On the new 3DS XL, the buttons feel higher quality than the new 2DS XL. They don't feel cheap. They definitely feel better than the original 2DS. The original 2DS had crappy buttons. But it just doesn't feel as high quality, and that just comes with keeping costs down while still giving you a quality handheld gaming experience. And of course, the cameras are still kind of crap. I'm not even going to provide samples because they're that bad. In conclusion, the new 2DS XL is far better than I was expecting it to be. Yes, there are some shortcomings, like no user replaceable battery. The stylus could have been a bit better. Same goes for the speakers. But I'm willing to overlook those, as those really kind of get overshadowed by the pros. And for just $160 or $150, it's a nice system that I would actually go with more than the new 3DS XL, as it's more portable than that console, while still giving you the access to the very large library of games. So that's going to do it for me in this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. This is DS900 signing off. Peace.